Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another edition of the Bold Prediction Sports Show. As tradition, I'm that dude with the beard. That's Mr. KC, currently located in the 813. And we're here to talk about some drafts, some NFL news, some NFL knowledge, some NFL bold statements, if you will, as we always do. What's going on, Mr. KC?
Oh, not too much to do with a beard. Just another day down here in paradise, enjoying the sunny weather and whatnot. Getting ready for this, pretty much the kickoff of the NFL season. Really, is what we can call it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is here. We're about to see how things start shaping up here. We got the draft. We got, free agent moves that's been made. We've been seeing some scenarios. We're seeing some things going into this season that kind of makes you want to scratch your head a little bit, but we'll get into that here. First and foremost here, what you want to dive into? We want to do a little free agency.
Well, a little free agency talk. Yeah, we can do a little bit. There's a few free agencies or a few free agents left. There's a couple guys that could move the needle for a few teams left. We still haven't seen where Odell Beckham Jr. is going to go yet. I made a video on him almost a month ago now, just talking about where he might go.
Right. And we had some trade requests coming down the wire here, especially from the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins keep reiterating that he wants to get out of Cincinnati. I think he's done with the he's done with the Bengals. And they also had their D end, what's his name? Oh Lord, it just slipped my mind. Uh who is it? So I have to come back to me here. Uh Trey Hendrickson, that's who it is. He also
Oh
asked
yeah,
for a trade to get out of Cincinnati. So we're seeing a couple things transpire, and maybe this will be influential in the draft here. Maybe with the whole Rasheed Rice thing, we see a trade that we make for T. Higgins for maybe a later round pick, maybe a fourth rounder. So
yeah. It's going to be interesting because what we're going to end up doing tonight is kind of our version one of the 2024 season predictions. We're going to go ahead and throw out what we think is going to happen pre-draft and pre-schedule release. Like we don't know when these teams are playing each other. We've got a general idea on some teams facing each other that they know who what teams are going to play, but they don't know the schedule. So usually we wait till the schedule to release to give you our preseason picks. But we're going to take a little jump shot without even looking at the schedule. We don't even know what they call the back half of free agency, the second wave, as they like to call it. The struggling veterans, as I like to call it. Where are they going to end up going? And then the addition of a draft picks, the roll of the dice, the new blood of the NFL. Who's actually going to hit? We see one thing that we really need to talk about is this number one pick for the Chicago Bears. We haven't really dived deep on Caleb Williams yet.
and in my opinion here, there's nothing to really dive in on. I've yet to be impressed by Caleb Williams. I don't. Maybe the world is seeing something I'm not, but I'm getting real Jamarcus Russell kind of feelings from this man. I think the media is going to make him. They've already made him more than what he is. I think Chicago's going to feel the sting of this decision. And I think they're going to look at Pittsburgh, who already declined the fifth-year option on Justin Fields because they're getting ready to extend him to something nasty because they know going forward he's going to be the face of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And shout out to Mike Tomlin for winning that situation all over again. Mike Tomlin just continues to impress me year after year, dude. So shout out to them. But We'll see, man. Like I said, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with really any of these quarterbacks coming out. The most intriguing one is maybe Phoenix. Michael wasn't a Michael Penix or something like that. He just
Yeah.
because I mean he's deep ball accurate. I mean he do got the deep ball drop in, but then you worry about all the other intangibles. But the way the NFL goes now, and if a team drafts him and really cater to his play style, you can have you a Lamar esque, Patrick Mahomes kind of situation, play to their strengths, and just see how far they can take you. But we'll see, man. The jury's still out on Caleb Williams for me.
Yeah, what I'm really afraid of for the Chicago Bears is, if you can improve the quarterback, you want to do that every day of the week. If you could improve on Patrick Mahomes, I'd take a better Patrick Mahomes. You can't find it, but if he was out there, I'd consider it. Like you got to think about it. The problem is I'm not 100% sure the jury was completely out on Justin Fields. I'm not sure you've completely built a team
It
ready
was.
to compete. So what happens if this is a very lateral move, right? Like you just didn't even like what if at best you get Justin Fields again? Like that level of play that you got from Justin Fields. Who I agree with you. This is the scary thing for the AFC North is they could have just got a very young, talented quarterback for absolutely nothing. It's a scary thought. It's and it's I'm not sure. What I do know, we've seen improvement from Justin Fields. Every
For sure.
season, his stats, I mean, it started out rough. I'll give you that. Like, it was definitely not pretty. But
Especially when you're
he's
playing in
shown,
Chicago, though, because
you
considering all the
know,
variables, man.
yeah, it reminds me of Baker Mayfield with the
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns.
yeah,
They harped on him for not winning a playoff game, but it was like we're talking about the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. Like who would have thought that? Like
man.
sometimes you got to look around and say maybe it's not just his fault. It's like as much as we like to toot our horn about Pat Mahomes, he's still got guys around him. It's
Right,
still not a one man show. We've seen what a one
right.
man show does. He loses to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That's what happens when it's just a quarterback. But it'll be interesting to see. He's the clear consensus number one pick. But what we do know in the NFL is that means absolutely nothing. And if
Nothing.
anything, it might even guarantee a bust. Like, how many times have we seen the number one Sherlock guy do absolutely nothing? Look at Trey Lance, or like you can look around all around the league and see all sorts of guys that were supposed to be. Look at Manziel,
I,
you
yeah, I'm
know.
about to say I can't think of not one quarterback drafted number one overall who's went on to glory. Like not in the recent years, at least. I mean, you can't really think of one.
Was Trevor Lawrence was he the first pick? I feel like he was the
Trevor
second
Lawrence, yeah,
quarterback
he
taken,
was the
wasn't he?
second. Yeah, I'm about to say I don't think he was number one. I have to go look at that. But luckily, that's why we have the internet here. Trevor
Yeah, but what I do know
Lawrence.
is he's the only quarterback. He was from another heavy quarterback draft class, and he is the only quarterback left standing, still starting in the NFL. I know that you've seen guys like
Right.
Mac Jones from his draft class, just already already
Oh yeah,
burned
he was
down.
number one pick.
Like
Yeah. So Android
was he the first
17.
quarterback? Okay, well that was
Yeah,
breaking
that's
trends.
right.
But
Cause
even there's question marks starting to come around that.
yeah, and a lot of that's got to do with I think lack of protection, and then not and just lack of explosive
Hmm.
plays the Doug Peterson way. Well, that's a whole different
Right.
story, dude. Good night.
Yeah, because to be honest, we've kind of taken his crown and given it to someone else. You know, CJ Stroud has become the new prince that's promised, and we're both. You know, I got to tip my hat. You were captain of the bandwagon, uh, really before anyone else. But you know, I'm right there with you. I think they're probably that's what we need to talk about for 2 minutes right here. Is
Right. I
this
would say they're
these
loaded up.
Houston Texans
Yeah.
loaded up? And you talk about a team that has broken the formula of rebuilding. They've shown you what it takes
Right.
to rebuild a team. Go go get you that quarterback. Get you that stellar NFL elite type quarterback.
Yeah. And they
And,
were
and
blessed
you've seen it.
that Carolina was so dumb that they didn't want the best quarterback in the draft. So, like I said, so big shout out to Carolina once again. Like I said, dude, how many times we gonna see these clubs take these quarterbacks that they should be leaving for the next? I just anyway, we're gonna see it again in
Right?
Chicago. Like I said, they
Yeah.
and anyway, let me get away from that. Like I said, shout out to Justin Fields and the Steelers. He'll be starting again for the years out. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. I
um,
believe so too.
Right. But these Texans, like you said, you're not lying. You go and get you a generational quarterback like CJ Stroud, another Ohio State product. Shout out. But dude, his intangibles, his will to win the game, and his prowess, dude, says a lot. Like I said, dude, if anybody you want to compare to Patrick Mahomes, it should be CJ Stroud. I hear a lot of Caleb Williams comparisons, bro. He's not nearly uh, I don't see the heart of a champion in Caleb Williams, but when you look at
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, you can see it's like it's dripped all over him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Texans have done huge things by adding like Stephon Diggs. That was a big get to continue to surround him with talent. And the wide
Yeah,
receivers for the Houston Texans are a
legit.
highly underrated wide receiver
Tank
group.
Dell,
Yeah, they're very legit. Yeah.
Nico
Man.
Collins, bro, and
Yeah,
now
Nico
then you add
Collins
Joe
especially,
Mixon.
man.
Then you add
Yeah.
Joe Mixon at
And
running back. Good night, man.
man, they're surrounded them. You know, they're at that point where I hope the Texans go all in. You know, I don't
Oh
want them to
yeah,
beat the Chiefs, obviously, as a homer, but man, as a supporter of watching that underdog finally kind of develop, man,
I,
shout out the Texans.
I'm gonna
Seeing
say
the
it right here.
AFC,
I'm gonna say it right here and right now. They've solidified themselves as the third best team in the AFC already, by far, in my opinion.
hmm
Like I said, there's
yeah,
only two in front of them, and they was in the championship game. Like I said, they're the only
right.
two in front of them. So do and they seem they might have the Ravens number. You see how they played them last year. It took a
I'd
miracle to
make
win.
I'd make the argument that the Texans, at least on paper, at this point of the season, have improved. Whereas I'd question if the Ravens haven't taken a slight step back. You know, just
Oh yeah,
not a huge. You know, the addition of Derrick Henry is I like that combination. It's you know you want to be a run heavy team, get you a run heavy running back. You know, like
right.
I like the formula, but I've got questions on the offensive line. There's just there's questions all around, especially
I still got questions at
losing
receiver
Odell
because
Beckham
if
Jr.
oh
is
you, I don't
yeah
that Odell thing ain't as big as it sounds. Uh,
for that
they can
team it
they can
is.
let Odell go. I mean, he what 500? You just missing
They can
500
live without
receiving
him.
yards. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be fine. That they won't
right.
even know he's out the building. Only if they can nail another receiver in this draft because, like I said, Zay Flowers can't do it all.
Right.
So you got to
Not
have somebody
he
else
does a
down
lot.
there.
I like Zay Flowers. Like
Right.
let's not confuse the folks. So I think we're both big on Zay Flowers, but it's we'll both agree that it's not a one man show.
Right.
Lamar's arm talent is not a one wide receiver show. You need
Right.
multiple threats out there.
Right. So we'll see what happens with them. But Houston, with the additions that they made, I think is thoroughly put themselves in position to contend for the AFC. Like I said, I don't think they win it, but I'm always feel that way because this is championship city.
Right.
But as long as Houston has CJ, they're gonna always be in the mix, dude. I really think that, dude, the Stephon Diggs thing is big, but I really think the Joe Mixon thing is gonna pay dividends for him to have a solid running back and one who can catch coming out the backfield. I think that's gonna pay a bigger dividend, but it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be good to watch, fun to watch.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and dive into our season predictions. Now, we you can check the tapes from last year, folks. We shoot pretty good, so it'll be impressive to come back to this tape to see what we did without even all the cards on the table. And this is when we're getting a little bold here, folks. Okay, or you got to cut us a little slack. This is version 1. Version 2 will be our final version. There's only 2 versions. And that's once we get
Right.
the schedule and really probably a little bit deeper into free agency. The draft will have already happened. We'll have 90%, and that's really all we need of the information to be pretty spot on. You can look at the teams that we called to make the playoffs, like the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
When I nailed the Lions making the playoffs. Like we could start going around the league, and we're talking about the Lions that hadn't made the playoffs in like 20 years type Lions.
Right.
So that's just letting you know what kind of situation we're nailing on. We
And I
we
told you
we
who was
just seem to
missing the
get it right.
playoffs
So,
more importantly, and it was those Cincinnati Bengals. I told you they wasn't gonna make the playoffs. People
mhm,
was, oh yeah, they will. Like I said, so yeah, we,
right,
we we nailed a few things, man. I mean, some things are just self evident. Some we live in a place called reality where we're able to accept certain terms, and we just see things for what they are, and we just bring it to y'all, man. We bring it to the folks.
right, and to be just 100% transparent. We both got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl right, and I even got the 49ers Chiefs matchup right. Just so
And he
like
did.
that's just we. You can question these picks, folks, but they hit for a reason. All right, let's
Yeah.
get into it. Let's start with the division we know. Let's start with what we know best, the AFC West. I think the obvious choice is the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West, and I see a very I feel like a 13-4 seasons probably pretty spot on.
I don't know, man. I'm feeling a 14 winner. I'm
14,
feeling it. On the quest to three because, like I said, they be trying to hold us back sometimes. But I think 14 wins. I think that's sufficient right there. 3 losses, 14 wins. And like I
but
said,
I tell you what,
yeah,
a 17-0 on top of a three-peat would just be the you would
perfect.
just have to call that the best season that it was ever created. But we're realistic. We know the Chiefs will lose at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 games.
Yeah, maybe even because they like to hold us at certain points during the
Right.
season. So but the end result always the same. Super Bowl,
And,
Patrick Mahomes, MVP, confetti, drop the banner. You see
and
the
I want to talk
best.
about the surprise second best team in the division. And that's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders
I'm
at
trying
a
to tell
grand
you.
whopping 7-10 season. They've got 7-10 written all over them. I think they're going to end up with a cupcake type schedule this season, which they deserve. Last year was brutal. It was not a fair schedule for them, and with not much else competition in the division, like this nice little feel good for the coaching staff.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think 7 wins is upside for them. I like that.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think you're spot on with that. I got Denver coming in last. Only 1 win on the season. Like I said,
Mm.
they only should have won 3 games last year, but every dog has its day. Maybe 2 wins. 2 wins for Denver. Uh, 4 wins for the Chargers.
See,
That
I'm
sounds
feeling a
about right.
very 5 wins. I'm feeling very 5 wins for the Broncos and 3 wins for the Chargers. I think the Chargers are in deep trouble. I don't even think the Chargers.
This a
Well, there's
wrap.
none to really ask, but the Chargers fans just man, they're full rebuild session, and
Yeah,
it'll be
but this is
interesting to
what
see.
right. But this is what we talked about, though, Mister Casey. We told you we need to throw the dynamite in the front lobby and blow that thing up. It been time, and I'm glad they finally listened
Mm,
to us. And so, yeah, dealing with the sorting out the rubble and starting to rebuild. Like I said, like I said, I can still see them winning about, like I said, 4 or 5 games, matching what they did last year. I think Denver's gotten considerably worse than what the Chargers have, and in my honest opinion, because we don't even know who's going to quarterback. Well, who's Jarrett Stidham, I think, unless they try to
Zach
get somebody
Wilson.
in the draft. Yeah, well,
Well,
that's done. He's only going to be good in that jet green, and that thing's over with. So
and I'm afraid that they're not even going to draft a quarterback early this season.
and
They're
you
in a
see what I'm
terrible
saying?
draft spot. Like it's
I
I'm
don't think they
calling
got
it
first
right.
round
This is
picks,
my
do
little
they?
call it now. They do have a first round pick, and it is like pick number 12 or something. So at best, they're looking at the very back end of a quarterback talent. There's going to be no one there left. It's just they're not unless they move up, which I don't see actually
They have to go
happening.
get that boy
They're
Big Flacco again.
yeah, they're riding with the junk that they've already got, and it's not going to be pretty.
Oh goodness, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I only got them winning maybe 2 games, dude.
Yeah,
I,
it's
I just
possible.
I can't see them winning too much more. I wouldn't be surprised if they went winless, dude. Them bums.
Mm.
But we'll see
Let's
what
hit the
happens.
let's hit the AFC East. This is another one that I feel like we pretty strong on. We hit pretty hard on these ones, and I see the Miami Dolphins pulling off the division at least. And not very pretty. I see it as a very 10-11 kind of win season for the Dolphins.
hmm Um, honestly, and I hate to say it, I'm right there with you. I really think it's Miami's time. If there was any time to win the division besides last year, which they should have, it's this year. Especially if they don't get protection for Aaron Rodgers up there in New York. Because if he get protection, then I'm going with the Jets. Like I said, this is all preliminary. But the way I feel right now, I would definitely go with Miami because they should have won it last year. Buffalo's done. Finally, put a fork in them. Maybe them missing the playoff prediction just came a year too early, even though it was on pace last year. But NFL guided them on there. You
Well,
got to have a playoff with Josh Allen. Got to have an Allen Mahomes matchup again. So yeah, they're done for. Good night. So yeah, Miami's as far as I'm concerned right now, Miami's got that thing locked up. They've got the most settled quarterback situation, wide receiver situation. Um, yeah, it's Miami.
yeah, and I'm right there with you. I believe the Jets will be that second best team. And I'm even going to go and say they're going to have a very similar record to the Dolphins. I think this is a very 9-10 win team. Of course, we
Mhm.
have to have that gigantic asterisk around
Right.
Aaron Rodgers' health. Like we
Hey,
need him to be healthy for
where he
them to
at
win
now?
10 games.
Is he off somewhere
Uh,
now, getting high? Who know where he?
I,
What is he doing now?
I, if I'm a gambling man, so I'm gonna say more than likely. Yes, accurately. That is
Yeah.
that is
Oh,
we he's down by the beach. That's what
right.
what we're known to do. All
Yep.
right, and then we go on to the Buffalo Bills, and I'm right there with you. They've got a six
They're
or
done.
7 win season written all over it. The
Uh,
talent level has you got to surround Josh Allen with talent. They've taken a huge step back losing Stephon Diggs. They needed Stephon Diggs and another Stephon Diggs. And they,
They're a
instead of
5-win
adding
team now.
one, they deleted one. And it's the wrong direction. I
Because
don't
they
like
still
it at
paying for
all.
Von Miller. They still paying
Yeah,
for the Von Miller situation and everything. When y'all loaded up 3 years ago, when y'all felt it was the best chance that y'all could beat Pat and get to the Super Bowl, and you failed, not realizing that Philip Rivers ain't never gonna get you there. So they're a 5-win team, Mister Casey. They're a 5-win team, and 5 is a
right.
stretch for me. I really think the Patriots are going to outwin the Buffalo Bills this year with the rookie quarterback because that defense is still going to be
Uh, I,
solid. All right.
I'm afraid of a very 3-4 win season for the Patriots. I'm not high on them.
Mm-mm.
The Patriots, I
They're
will
gonna be.
say
They're gonna
I'm
win
gonna
more than
put an
4. They only
asterisk.
won 4 last year. They're gonna win more than 4.
I want. Mm,
New
I'm
coach,
gonna I'm gonna
like I
put
said,
a
it's gonna have that new coach energy. All that, man. All right.
I'm gonna put the version 1 asterisk next to him. We're gonna come back to the old Patriots topic for sure on
All they gotta
version 2
do is get
because
old boy from LSU. What's his name? Jared or
Daniels was it Daniels? Is that who I'm thinking of?
I think
Uh,
so. What's the boy name? Uh, Jaden Daniels. Yeah, if Washington don't pick him, I think they'll go with Drake May. But either way, they're gonna end up with either Jaden Daniels or Drake May. And I feel like that's going to be enough in itself right there to get them to. That's going to be a four wins right there just off the strength of that alone. But putting everything together, and we'll see how easy the schedule turn out for them. But New England, they're going to trust me, they're going to outwin Buffalo. I'm
yeah,
almost willing to put a
yeah.
gentleman's dollar on that.
We might that might be a conversation.
It might be a
Let's hop on over
conversation.
to the let's
I'm
hop on
telling you.
over to the AFC North. This is
Who,
wild, tough. This is the toughest division in
Probably my
football,
favorite
folks.
division.
Look,
Dude, is it almost my
man,
favorite, dude? I fucking
it
love the
is our
AFC
favorite. It's got to
North.
be.
I think
There's
so.
so much. There's so much going on in this division. It has to be our
Outside
favorite.
Cincinnati, yeah, like outside Cincinnati, yeah,
Well,
these are
I
my
even like
probably yeah.
Cincinnati as the villain role. As the villain underdog role, they fit perfectly. As folks, if you don't know, Do with a Beard is a host of our wrestling show or wrestling podcast around the mat. So
Yes,
definitely
yes.
check that out. And I just, someone that likes a good storyline. I feel like Cincinnati villain underdogs is it's got that written all over it. I don't know the wrestling comparison, but there's
Well,
one that be had there. I'm telling you.
well, he tried to make them. Cincinnati's still a face team. They the baby face team. That's what they want to be.
Mm.
Squeaky Joe. Like I said, we know who the villains of the AFC are, man. We're sitting here in Kansas City. They done turned us into the villain. They done made Patrick Mahomes go full heel turn. So okay, you want me to win on the road? You want me to win all these obstacles after everything I done for y'all? This is what y'all want. This is what y'all gonna do to me? Okay, yeah. Y'all gonna give me a bunch of receivers can't catch? Okay, we still gonna get this thing done. And so, no, I do outside of Joe. The Bengals are pretty decent. We'll see. I don't see them making the playoffs again, though. I think this is a 2 year stretch for them, especially because they're losing so
Mm-mm.
much right now on offense. Like I said, they already lost Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins won a trade. You're losing pieces on defense already, and you don't really have that much draft capital. I just don't really see how you really excel this season with just Jamar Chase, who you got to pay, and Joe. So I don't know.
So who's winning the division?
Honestly, it's gonna boil down between Pittsburgh and the Ravens. I really think I really think Russ is gonna shit the bed in training camp. Worst case scenario, he starts maybe 2 or 3 games, but Justin Fields gonna get in there, and that whole team's gonna be revitalized. And if it ain't good enough to win the North, like I said, there was only 3 games away last year with no quarterback, and almost won the North. So you can't tell me they're upgraded either way.
Hmm.
Behind, but now unless their push is really stifled and injuries on defense, because if T.J. Watt healthy the whole year, like I said, that takes away three of them losses already. Dude, I like Pittsburgh. If not, of course, I always go with Big Trust in that running game up there,
Right.
especially since they got the king behind Big Trust now. Third place Browns. Well, let's get some numbers out here. I think Pittsburgh has a real shot of being a 12-win team. I think they really
I,
have a
I'm
shot.
I'm real close to you. I feel like I'm very 10-11 kind of win right there. I'm going to put it at 10.5. I think they're right there, and I'm right there with you with the Ravens. I think they're like an 11 win team. I think
Hmm.
it's real close. I'm going to give a slight edge to the Ravens just solely
Got to.
based off off the quarterback.
Off history. You got to do it.
I trust Lamar
Big
Jackson every day of
trust.
the week, and I got questions about what Pittsburgh's going to do at quarterback, but I do feel like regardless, either one of them is a better option, and at least at the minimum, a slight upgrade. And a
Right.
slight upgrade means a lot to that team.
Right. Because I'm saying, because if you struggling at quarterback and still win 10-7 and made the playoffs, I don't know what else to say. Like, I, what else can you say? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I got them. Yeah, like I said, I'm around there with Baltimore too, around the same number of wins. I don't think Cleveland goes on the run like how they did last year. I don't think the schedule will be easy enough for them to do that again, replicate. I got them probably around 8 wins. And Cincinnati around five, maybe about 5 or 6.
Mm. And I'm kind of the opposite there. I think I'm Cincinnati. I feel like 8 or 9 wins there. I want. I'm going to lock it in at 9. I think this is a very competitive AFC North that just fucking mollywops each other, kind of gets in each other's way,
All the
absolutely too
time.
much. And then with the Browns, I think I'm going to put them right about 6 wins.
But you got to remember, though, I will say this: Pittsburgh was the best in the division last year. They was 5-1 in the division. So, like I said, that's with no
With no
quarterback.
quarterback.
Dude. Like I said, that's what I'm looking at. Can they win the North? Just by playing who they've been playing? Yeah,
Right.
they could.
Yeah.
They could.
It's a possibility. It is a possibility. So that's north. Now we got to go south. We need to hit that old dirty south, the old AFC South. And we're both lockstead. We both already know this. It's the
I think the order's
Houston
going to be the
Texans.
same as last year, dang there. Houston,
Hmm.
of course, atop the South, probably this time a 12-win team, maybe even a
Yep.
13-win team, dude. They're kind of effing
That's
loaded. We got to see that roster, man. I mean, that schedule,
going to
but
say it better.
man, after that, I'm still going to go with Jacksonville with Android 17. I think they rewrite some wrongs and everything, and they can easily be in about a 10-11 win team. Um,
I'm 9-10.
Indianapolis,
Yeah.
yeah, about 9-10. I think Indianapolis probably about a 9-win team again. Unless Richardson stays healthy and he shows enough to get them over the hump, they're probably about an 8 or 9 win.
Their problem is they refuse to fix their secondary. You talk about a team that fumbled the Legarius Sneed fucking trade. They needed him so they needed Sneed and to add another corner, and it's just so far
Well,
behind. I'm
they can still get
I feel
go ahead.
no, you're good. Who, who,
Oh, I was gonna say
who are
they
you
can
gonna say?
still. They got a couple guys out there that they can still get though at corner. Old dude who used to play for Miami, is still out there.
Xavier Howard. Yeah,
Yeah, Xavier Howard, Stephon Old Gilmore still out there. Dude from
I think
Denver, that
Xavier.
little safety.
Yeah, I think Xavier Howard's going to end up going to the Texans. The way he was talking, he wants to be down there bad, but
Well, I don't
the
blame
money
him, dude. It's
talks,
cracking in
right?
Houston right now.
Oof.
Dude, CJ Stroud done
But
lit the city up, man.
but I'm right there with you. I think the Colts are probably about 7 wins. I just and I feel like that's one of those asterisk version one kind of takes. Like I might need to come back and revisit how I feel on the Colts.
Yeah, I'm saying it's still, like I said, it's still out for debate. But one thing we're gonna agree on is that the Titans are way at the bottom of that barrel and probably another 5-win season on the cusp.
I'm, 5 seems very rich. It just seems
That's
super
what I'm
rich to me.
saying. That's,
I'm feeling
that's
a
me
three
being
win like
generous.
this. Yeah, this is top 5 alert draft pick alert right here for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. And see, my only thing is, I don't think they're as bad off as like Denver is. So, I mean, you still got Levis. Now you got Calvin Ridley. So you got kind of a wide receiver threat. You got a little bit on defense with Snead and stuff. I mean, I think they can get 5 wins with that. They can get at least
Yeah,
5.
I mean, this is definitely possible. All right, let's hit up
It's
the
gonna be
old
hard.
NFC, the old National
Yo,
Football Conference.
right, the little brother, as I like to call him, little brother.
Well, which way? Let's start out east. Let's go right to left, I guess. Let's start out with the old NFC East. Probably the toughest division in the NFC. I'd probably argue. It's pretty competitive.
I don't know at this point, man. Um, I don't know what moves these Giants are gonna make. Uh, and the Commanders are in search for a quarterback. It might revitalize them. Dallas is gonna win this division again,
Yeah,
and
that's kind of
probably another 11, 12 win season. I mean, that's just the nature of the NFC beast.
yeah. And I actually feel like a 12, possibly 13 win season out of the Cowboys. The NFC East has gotten a lot easier for them. It's gotten a lot. The Commanders are on a
Philadelphia
bad
has too
trend.
many questions. Right.
Yeah, and Philly. Yeah, Philly is still going to be a dominant team, but it's a team that's taken a steps backwards.
A
And you
lot
got to
of them.
question: are you going to see? Yeah, a lot of them,
Also,
especially in
you
the
lost
back
your
half
Hall
of
of
the
Fame.
season.
I'm trying to tell you, you lose your Hall of Fame center and everything, dude. Tush push out the door. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
it's questions, but I do think Philly's going to finish second in the division at 9 wins.
See, I'm not sure, man. I had picked Philly last year. I didn't think they was gonna make the playoffs, and the way they played, they shouldn't have. I think that translates into this season. I think they're probably a 7-win team, dude. It may, if not a
Mm,
5 to 7 win team. I think they're somewhere around the Giants. I think the Giants probably finish second with maybe 7 or 8 wins. Like they're gonna be so close and win and loss, dude. It's not even gonna be funny. And the Commanders, dude, almost is it could almost be a deadlock for second between all three of these teams because either Washington is going to get better after they get a new quarterback and they revamp that system, or it's going to be the same mediocre. They'll squeeze out maybe 4, 5, 6 wins and still be in the mix because Philadelphia just don't have it. Like I said, that thing is crumbled. The biggest question is what the Giants can do because
yeah,
they're probably the only other team that could really step up, in my opinion.
yeah,
But without
they're
Saquon,
unpredictable, but I don't like the Giants, man. I'm off that train. I just don't
mhm.
see it. It's such a terribly ran franchise that I'm going to give the Giants 5 wins and I'm going to give the Commanders 4.
Yeah, so just
But I
about
think
where
there's
they're at
still,
last year.
yeah, I just think there's a pretty big gap between Philly and those. The Phillies got less question marks than, I mean, the
Do
Giants
they?
could be a gamble. Yeah, they do. At least they've got the quarterback situation figured out.
Do
They
they?
still got AJ. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's not the greatest, but he's still top 10-ish. You know, he's a little back half, way back. You know, maybe 10, but he's in that conversation
Too
at
good to
least.
Alabama, man. I just the Alabama quarterbacks just. I guess, man. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at everything because Dak Prescott got better numbers than him. So I hope you're saying that Dak is a top 10 quarterback then, because his numbers be better than Jalen's.
As much as I want to say Dak isn't a top 10 quarterback, I mean, at this point of the conversation, I have to say he is. You know, based off of last season, and you can check the tape. I'm one of the biggest Dak Prescott haters you can create,
That
and
is. That he is.
I'd probably put him right around that 7 or 8 number. You know, like he's in the back half too, but just only a couple marks ahead of Jalen Hurts. You know, his passing numbers are going to be way better than Jalen's, but Jalen
And
also
I'll go as
has that
far as to
run game
say
element.
both of them are better than Josh Allen. I'd take either one of them before
Mm.
Josh Allen at this point, if we're just laying down brass tacks. But that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, people are going to tell you you're absolutely wrong for that, but what you're going to see is Josh Allen without any help, and it's not going to be pretty, folks.
Not gonna be pretty. Well,
I
it wasn't
hate to
pretty
be the
with
bearer of
help.
bad news.
Because it wasn't pretty with
It
help.
was
It was
it was
gross.
questionable. There's not a question. Right? Look, folks.
Yeah,
It is what it is. You
man.
know. So
So
I think yeah, the NFC East is
that's
there's
Cowboy
definitely
land
some
now.
yeah, there's definitely some questions there at the bottom of the barrel, but you got to question if they can get out. And that'll be the question for the season.
Right.
All right, let's head over to the North, the dirt and North.
Yeah, and this thing right here, I believe the North this season coming up belongs to the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to be an 11 win team to win the NFC North. Detroit still going to be riding momentum, but I think they're going to get back kind of back to reality. They're going to be about a 10-win team, come in second in the North, still make the playoffs just because of the nature of the NFC beast. Vikings gonna come in at third, kind of about where they're at now. Last year, about 6 or 7 wins, and Chicago dead last with probably maybe 1 or 2 wins, maybe three. This is the Carolina Panther situation in Chicago now. You
Mm.
know what I mean? This is back to square one, back to a guy like I said. There ain't too much belief behind him, and it's just so sad. I mean, it ain't sad, but it's just kind of what it is. So that's what I got for the NFC North.
Yeah, and I'm pretty similar to you. I think the Detroit Lions are going to win it. I think that's a 12-win team, but I think the Packers could win the division, and I would have them as an 11-win team. You know, I think both of them are going to be super strong and super competitive. You know, there's maybe even one of the Super Bowl contestants we're talking about in this conversation. And
Mhm.
then I think there's a big drop off going to the Vikings and the Chicago Bears. I'm
Huge gap.
gonna guess the Chicago Bears end up higher than the Vikings. Um,
I don't see it.
I know Caleb Williams has question marks about it, but I have even more question marks about what the Vikings are even going to do at quarterback. So give me 6 wins for the Chicago Bears
Ooh.
and 5 wins for the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm glad this early because he'll have more than enough time to change his mind about these Bears.
right? And
Because,
we're allowed to. That's the great part about version one.
yeah, I'm about to say, because, dude, you almost giving me them vibes from Carolina early last year.
Mm. Well, I think the difference is we just don't know what's going to happen at quarterback with the Vikings. And that's why this is that version one mixtape where we're allowed to change it up once we got the rosters and schedules figured out. But,
Right.
unless, the Vikings aren't in a draft spot to really pick a quarterback unless they move up. Now they have the ammunition
I've been hearing
to
the
move up. They have
rumblings.
the draft.
Right.
There's lots of rumblings. They could be switching with the Patriots. They that could happen. There's or
Right.
switching with the Commanders or the Chargers. They could hop up
I
and
think the
get
Charger pick is the one they're
the.
going to go after because they got more. They got so
I
much
think it's the
retool they
cheapest.
need. Yeah, well, it's going to
Yeah,
be the
and
cheapest, but it's the more affordable option because considering those other teams actually need a quarterback. Now you get to
yeah,
that team that
and
don't they're
maybe the
sold on
Cardinals.
quarterback. Right.
And for some reason, somehow, I think the Cardinals are gonna.
Oh, you had froze for a second.
Yeah, I froze for a second. I'm still frozen. I'm gonna try. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I don't even remember where we were at now.
We was
Yeah,
about
I
to get
guess we
ready
were
to move
finishing up the
on.
AFC North. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's move on to the NFC South.
Yeah, and I, with the utmost confidence, and it brings me the utmost joy to say that the Atlanta Falcons are going to win the NFC South. Big shout out to Kurt Thuggins on a monster contract, more than deserved as tradition, and he's bringing the Dirty Birds back to prominence. Atlanta was 7-10 last year with no quarterback. Uh, Kirk Cousins, he's gonna come in, and they have enough weapons. This team is gonna hum, dude. After them, it's probably gonna be Baker and the Bucks. Then the Saints coming in after that. Both of them are probably gonna be around the same 7 to 8 win, maybe. I got Atlanta winning at least 12 games just with the Kirk Cousin addition.
Oof,
Because they're going to sweep everybody in the division. I don't think they're going to lose not one division game. So that's 6 wins already.
oof.
Because I mean, think about it. And then you got Carolina after that. Carolina's still going to be in that mix for a top pick. They win maybe 1 or 2 games again
Yeah,
next year.
praying not to get skunked. I'm pretty
Man,
similar. I'm actually gonna go with an upset pick here.
yep. Oh, matter of fact, since we was talking about Atlanta, I got to do it like Ti. Put the hat on the side of my head.
So, bro,
shout,
you look at Ti is all hell,
shout out
bro.
to
I
the
just
A
had,
right. Well,
yeah, dude. You want about 2005 flashbacks? Hot diggity
okay.
darn. Uh,
Shoot.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Tampa, man. I like Baker, man. I like it. I think they're only gonna manage 10, 11 wins. I think the Atlanta Falcons are gonna be right there at 9 and 10. Those two are the only teams that are going to compete for this division. I think the Saints are going to be a 6 or 7 win team, and then I'm right there with you with the Carolina Panthers. If you tell me they got more than 2 wins, I'd be shocked. Like you just
I got
call
to
a
make
spade a
sure I ain't
spade.
plugged into a machine somewhere. Like, dude, is this reality? Am I in the Matrix? As you'll see, you got
Mm.
terrible quarterback, terrible front office, terrible situation all the way around, no playmakers. It's just a terrible situation. You want to talk about nothing but lateral movements? I don't know what they be doing. I don't know. Anyway, they're. I'm like I
Well,
said,
I never thought
bottom of
I'd
the
hear
barrel.
you. I never thought I'd hear you speak so positively about the Carolina Panthers. Um, Nothing but compliments there, folks. That was the nicest way you could say it. It's better than I'd have said it. If you thought that was
Absolutely.
mean and ugly, my mama said you ain't got nothing nice to say.
Don't say
Don't say
nothing
nothing
else.
at all. And look, this talk about hot garbage. Ugh. Well, that
But
leaves us with the last division, the old, which is probably now that we've made it out to the
yeah,
West, it is going to be the
yeah.
hardest division in the NFC. So
It
shout out if
is.
you're the NFC fans, you made it this far. Shout you out for sticking along and knowing that you still got it. All
Right.
right. I think the San Francisco 49ers repeat and win the West.
I'm indifferent on that. As you probably knew that I was gonna be. Um, I really think that the Seattle Seahawks or the Arizona Cardinals are gonna come out next year. Seattle was only a few wins away from really solidifying some stuff. They're coming back with most of the same pieces, being healthier, and then they're just going to improve in the draft with some quality picks. Kyler Murray is about to get the most devastating wide receiver in the last 5 years of college football in Marvin Harrison Jr., which is going to be a tremendous boon for them. Um, and the Rams here, I really think that they're going to be better than the Niners too. Um, it's just
Mm,
kind of hard to pick the Niners again, just because for one, we're going to see the depletion of belief, which we already should see. I mean, because this is, you know, not a lackluster situation, but it's a situation that you always find yourself in when you're looking at San Francisco. Yeah, we get a lot of wins. We'll go to the Super Bowl, but we just keep losing, or we losing this game, losing that game. I think the time has come for them to take a real backseat, even with everything they got, because we've seen stacked teams not even make the playoffs before. And as long as Brock Purdy is quarterback there, I'm not a believer. So
mm,
I got Seattle getting at least. I think Seattle's a 12-win team. I think Arizona makes a drastic increase, and they're going to be about a 9-win team, but it'll be enough for them to almost even make the playoffs. Los Angeles Rams will be about 11 wins, and San Fran maybe about 7 or 8 wins.
mm.
I'll go with eight
That's a
and a half to be on the
competitive.
safe side.
That's a competitive division. I've got the 49ers winning 11, 12 games. I think the LA Rams are going to probably take a slight step back. Give me the Seahawks for 9 wins. Let me get the Rams for 7 wins. And I think the Cardinals are going to win 5 games. And I also want to make the bold prediction that the Cardinals are going to fumble the bag and trade out of pick number 4 and lose out on Marvin Harrison Jr. and save his career from being wasted. They're going to do this young man a favor and not waste his career in the desert. And they're going to move out of this pick, and he's going to go somewhere else.
I don't know, man. You might that's probably the most sure pick of the draft right there. I'm pretty sure that he's already been talking to Kyler. They probably been working out. uh, it's a wrap, dude. And now we can see if Kyler Murray can play quarterback because now he'll have a legit wide receiver weapon. So I mean, I know we rag on the Cardinals a lot and rag on him a lot because he's small. But now it's the first time I'm gonna slightly open the door for Kyler to show me what he can do. Because now you'll have prime talent around you. They've been rebuilding that thing. Now, if you go and get Marvin, it should just open up the door.
Yeah, I'm just afraid there's a lot of room for garbage in there. All right,
Oh,
we
for sure,
got
it's
we
still the
got a couple
Cardinals.
little right. We got a couple little 5 minutes left or so. Let's maybe we get a couple quick playoff picks. And let's name our playoff teams for next year. So in the AFC, we both have the Chiefs.
Right,
We both have the Texans.
right.
Who else did we have winning their division? Let's go ahead
I
call
got
it
Pittsburgh and
yeah, let's call
Lamar.
it let's. Oh, I was going to call it Baltimore.
Well,
We'll
yeah.
flip.
See,
We'll call
early,
them
yeah,
both. We'll
early
call them both
projections.
teams.
Yeah,
We'll call. I'm playoff on both of them, so I'm fine with that. That gives you your
yeah,
first wild card spot too,
right,
and
yeah.
then so what
Miami.
was that? Miami. Yeah, there we go. It leaves us with uh, two
Two vacant
wild
spots.
cards. Yeah, let's go Jets.
Man, you're reading my
Mm,
mind.
yeah, and
Yeah, come on. I
uh,
know you want to
I
say
think
it. Go ahead.
who you thinking? Who you thinking? Because I'm
It's
not.
gonna be
I'm not thinking who you're
Jacksonville.
thinking.
It's gonna
You
be
thinking
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville? Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that alternative. I'm going Cincinnati. I think that AFC North is so competitive that I think Cincinnati sneaks in. I know the Bills are missing. I think Cincinnati scrounges. They don't win in the playoffs,
With
but I
what
think they make it back
offense,
in.
man?
It's a
They
question.
lost
It's a question.
everything. Joe
Look, this is
Mixon
serious.
gone. Both your receivers gone except for Chase. Like, what are we doing? Joe's coming back off an injury, bro. You gotta wake
All
up,
right. Well,
man.
as the show, we'll do the tiebreaker. We'll make the show as the consensus. Jags as the final wild card spot because
Man.
it's hard for me to make the argument for Cincinnati, and I know I can't. I can't. I'm not gonna try to win it, so we'll let that one slide.
Man.
All right. And then in the NFC, what are we looking at? We're looking at
Dallas
probably.
for sure.
Yeah, I like Dallas for sure.
And I got
I
Green
like
Bay in the north.
I
So
got Green Bay and the Lions. So one of those is going to be the first wild card spot.
we can do that.
And I think even yeah, I think based off your numbers, I think you probably had the Lions making a wild card spot too,
Hmm.
or at least real close to it.
No, for sure. They're
And
in
then
my opinion. And then I
yeah,
got
so
the Falcons winning the South.
um, and I've got the Bucks. I'm going to go ahead and slide both of those teams in too. So I'm not even going to bother worrying about splitting on them. I think uh, if Atlanta wins, then the Bucks find a way into the wild card spot. Um, I could see that happening. So it gives us what the
So
West. I've got the 49ers, and you've got the Seahawks.
yes, sir. Gotta have Seattle in that picture. Like I said, it's time. And that should complete it. That's all. What? That's all the spots in because we got two out the north,
Yeah, I
and
think we got
then
one wild card. I think we got one wild card spot left on the NFC.
hold on. So we got Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. Remember, it'd
Yeah,
be them two out the south. That's your other
yeah,
wild
and
card.
then I've got the yeah,
Cause you
yeah.
got
Uh,
yeah.
there's one wild card spot left because I've got 49ers and you got Seattle, so we got one wild card spot. 'Cause the two wild cards so far is either Atlanta and Tampa Bay, or
Oh yeah. Oh well, if that's the case, if the door's still open, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Los Angeles Rams in there.
getting Rams in there. That's not bad. It's a possibility. Uh, this one's kind of hard for me. I'm gonna slip Philly. Philly will take that last wild card spot for me, and they have
Yes.
another. They have another. Why even bother being in the playoffs appearance?
Yeah, they're done, bro. I really feel they're done. But we're gonna see.
The NFC just never excites me, so I always think the door is still wide open on them.
Well, I understand. Mm. Well, we're gonna see, folks. Those are your early predictions right there. The early forecast while the storm is still brewing. Of course, we'll come back at you with a part two and everything. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC from the 813. And we're going to holler at y'all next time. Peace, love, and joy, and all that stuff in between.
Yes, sir. You hope you folks enjoyed.
Peace.
Deuce.